So what does it mean, right? What does it mean to be an entrepreneur? What does it mean, right? So as an entrepreneur, as a designer, as a creative, we take the time to actually figure out who we are as individuals, right? I think the classic notion about like you have to know this and you have to know this and you got to do this and you got to do this. Like I know that idea is super scary because I went through it, right? You know, I think every person that is creative, every person that is working on becoming like their own boss or their own living a life of freedom, you can't do it with the knowledge that you have. And I don't like the word can't, because you can do everything, but when I put in the perspective of like what I mean by you can't do it with the knowledge that you have, right? If I wanted to make garlic bread, wouldn't I have to go and get the recipe? Right? Wouldn't I have to know about some type of spice, some type of butter that actually makes, you know, the margarine seep into the bread and trying to actually understand that? Like, that's what I'm talking about. So when I say when you can't use the knowledge, like if I said, oh, I know how to make garlic bread, I just take the garlic bread from Walmart and we just put it in the oven. That's how you make garlic bread. If that is the initial thing that you only know and that you repeated that, I don't think you can be successful. Because it won't get you far enough. And honestly, me saying this coming out my mouth, I don't even sound right because that shit just doesn't make sense to me, right? But the idea of saying, of learning how to grow a business, learning and reading and watching YouTube videos and teaching people these aspects of business is a great thing to do, right? And honestly, you just have to play your cards. You just have to enjoy it, and you just have to, you know, live in the moment, right? Right now, we're sitting at 74,000 on TikTok. We're sitting at like 5,600 on Instagram. We've racked in over 18 as a gross net volume. We've profited in 31 days, technically $18,000. But of that, we've only netted a $3,000 profit. And subtracting off of shipping, we probably will net probably somewhere, you know, we basically got off free product, because that number of shipping, you know, it's actually, let me think, but to see this from the first time go around and to be at 30 days is a blessing, right? So I would say tips and training wise, don't be afraid to be you. Don't be afraid to see what is working for you and stick with it. One of the things that I love to do is like, I love the aspect of saying like, hey, we're playing with this idea and, you know, stick with it. Like I was playing with, you know, custom jeans for a while. I liked it. And then it didn't sit well with me to do just custom jeans. Then I go into the whole idea of like custom sets, or of just getting tops, denim tops and denim bottoms, and switching up that idea. Then we say, hey, actually let's switch it up and let's go varsity jackets, let's go sweaters, let's go trench coats. What kind of new improvement of design are you searching for, are you yearning for to get the job done? You have to go out and you have to learn this knowledge. If you don't, then you kind of fall behind, and it is a struggle. So I guess I would my best thing would say is develop a system. Develop a system. Today I have on my board. I have actually on my board. Um, it's basically I wrote on my countertop. So it's basically around the board. You have management. You have management, and management actually goes hand in hand with the strategic team, and that team is just strategizing when the dates, what should we produce, how to go about it, how can we be ahead of schedule, and then from there, I'm just also realizing, the only reason we didn't profit so much off of our is because we did use some of that money to go purchase other samples, and I'm actually not mad at that. But anyway, as we go into it, you have development, and then you have e-commerce, you have marketing, you have art direction, you have communications, you have customer service, you have distribution, and then you have finances and production. So we have all these different teams, and this allows you to wear those multiple hats. Right now, what I'm working on is just trying to embed, all these different hats from, what's important, how does it start from finish, and wear those different hats. Being able to set up systems where I can go out and understand art direction, but understand and talk to the communications in my head about like how can we perceive this communication of if I said, hey, fuck these brands, art direction is playing with this high school, this preppy university, and all you see is people wearing their own, fuck these brands university jacket, and that entails with like a Sprite collection, or playing around with Hershey bars, or playing around with Roly Poly Oly, like this kind of each person is their unique own in person, allows them to that's the art direction. Having kids go through school as a regular life, no teachers are distraught by the word fuck these brands. They're just living a life of design, or living a life of their own creative nature to put together fits, and but also being able to say, hey, what's that language, what does that look like communicating with people. So with me, it's like communicating, the communication barrier is saying like fuck these brand university is how do we convey this storyline of what people are wearing at school, and to communicate like if I was a student, my thing will be communicating and working with the marketing team. You see how these pieces are working. So like my communication of what fuck these brands is me saying like, hey, we can do a classroom, and then we can take a photo, right? Put the feet up, and then you have in front of me, you have the rows, and you have like 3 rows right there, 3 rows right there, and then you have like the chalkboard or whiteboard, and you have this wide angle shot, and it basically says like everybody has their own custom jacket, and you see on the board and it says fuck these brands university. Like that to me is a cool idea of communicating that, but also being able to market that and work on social media marketing and telling that story of like, hey, each episode is a story. So it's just like putting these different hats and just playing with it. So my thing is just continue to learn, continue to wear these different hats, and develop these skills. So that's what I got.